Hi there and welcome to my channel. How do you like this gorgeous heart with all that texture and gold? This is my project for you today. This is not a difficult project. As a matter of fact, you would probably have a hard time even making a mistake. But look at all that. Wow, it's so pretty. If you like these kinds of projects, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Decoupage D.I.Y with Joan-Marie Domino. Give me a thumbs up. Share it with your friends, drop a comment. Let's go to my crafting table. We're at my crafting table now, and this is a heart that I bought from the Dollar Tree. The first thing we're going to do is give the heart a coat of paint. There's a couple different ways you can do this. You can use a spray paint like this Rust-Oleum chalk paint, or any white paint will be fine. Or you can use a brush on like this, and it doesn't have to be anything special. It can be acrylic. And the first thing we're going to do is the back. We're ready to start painting, and we're going to do the back first. I'm not going to be using a sponge pouncer on the glitter. That's just not going to work. Instead, I'm using a stencil brush. I'll hold it up so you can see. They came in a pack of 3 and they were very inexpensive. And this is perfect for painting on things that have a texture like this glitter. I'm going to open up my paint. And remember, I put my paint into small containers so that it's always fresh. All right, so how I'm going to apply it is I'm going to kind of do a pounce and a brush at the same time. And by doing that, I'm giving this glitter good coverage. Let me hold it up so you can see what I'm talking about. You can see it's really covering up that glitter. So we're going to continue to do that all the way around the heart, just like I'm doing here. And believe it or not, I thought this was something that was going to take me a long time because I couldn't spray paint. It was too cold outside, and I was surprised with this brush. It really went quick. We're going to give the back some time to dry before we flip it over, and now we're going to do the front, and we're going to do front pretty much like we did the back. I have my white paint. Again, any white acrylic paint you can use. And I'm going to grab another one of my stencil brushes. This is a dry one, so I'm glad they came in packs of 3. And we're going to put it on the same way, kind of a brush and a pounce so that it covers all of the glitter. This time I have to do the sides and the outside. And you want to give it some time to dry between different parts of the heart, or you're just going to smudge it or get it on your fingers. And we're going to do it the same way. And I just want to remind you, since this heart has glitter on it, it could come off as we're painting it. You definitely want your paint in a separate container so you don't contaminate your paint with all the little pieces of glitter. And let's give that some time to dry. It's all dry. Look how nice it looks. Did a good job with one coat. Now I want to tell you, you want to replace the wax paper. Now onto the napkin, and I picked a big size. This is called the dinner size or the guest size, and I picked one that has an overall pattern just like that. It's going to work well on the heart. And the first thing we do is we separate the plies, because with decoupage we only use the top printed ply, but actually in this case we're going to use the unprinted ply as well. So we're just going to put the top ply, so pretty, aside. We're going to take the napkin. Oh, before I forget, you definitely need something to wipe off your fingers with, because you are going to get gluey fingers, as I like to say, gluey. Anyway, you're going to start to tear the napkin. And what I did is I tore it in half first. And then after I tore it in half, I kind of tore it into strips like this. And I did them all approximately the same size. Once I had a whole bunch of them done, I'm ready now to put them onto the heart. That's a nice pile there. So I'm going to be using matte Mod Podge. This is what it looks like if you buy the small bottles. Remember, I buy big bottles, so I put them into little containers so it stays fresh, and you can do the same. We're going to pick up one of our little strips of napkin, you know, the unprinted ply. I'm going to kind of crunch it up, just like I'm doing here. I'm going to grab a brush. And now I'm going to start to apply the Mod Podge, and I want you to put it on thick. And you don't have to worry about it ripping or anything like that. That's really not going to be an issue when we're doing this heart. So I'm going to crunch it up some more, and I'm going to put it on top of the heart, on top of the glue, and I'm kind of still wrinkling it with my fingers. Then I'm taking the Mod Podge and I'm using that on top of the napkin, and I'm also tucking it under some of the folds because I want to make sure I'm getting the Mod Podge everywhere. So you can see how nice that is. And when I was doing it, I was just kind of tearing off the back as I went around. That's kind of where the sticky fingers comes into play. So I'm going to put some more on, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm just kind of crunching it up. And as you can see, I just crunch it up a little bit more as I put it onto the heart. And I'm going to add more. Don't be afraid to use your Mod Podge. I'm going to be adding more, and I'm going to do this all the way around. So don't worry about it. You can use as much as you want. We're not concerned about rips or wrinkles. That's what's so great about this project. That's why I said in the beginning, it's almost impossible to make a mistake. Okay, crunch it up. It's kind of fun to do as well. It's fun to do a project that's, we don't have to worry about this and worry about that. It's kind of like a decoupage vacation. All right, so we're going to put it down. And again, you just want to make sure that you get some Mod Podge in all of those folds. And I'm overlapping too as I go along. See, my fingers getting lots of glue on it. All right, and again, tuck it under. You see the little flaps there, the little folds. You definitely want to make sure you get the Mod Podge, and then tear it off, and you're going to get lots of glue on your fingers. Let's let that dry. Okay, that part is dry, and we're going to start and add some more, crunching it up and putting it on. I definitely recommend you give it time to dry, or else your fingers will stick to the different parts of the napkin and it will pull off. And I'm going to pull off the edges just like that. It's no big deal. Just pull them off. Look at the texture, and that's what makes this project so special. All of that texture we're adding just by using the back ply of the napkin. It really makes it nice. It changes the heart altogether. All right, now the heart is all dry, and we're ready to put on the top ply of the napkin. And you know what? We're going to pretty much do the same thing with the printed ply as we did with the unprinted ply, is that we're going to make it, we're going to tear it, and we're going to make it into little strips, just like I'm doing here. And again, I'm doing the strips like all around the same size. Doesn't have to be perfect. Once I have a big pile like I have there, now we're going to put the napkin on using the Mod Podge as well. And we're going to put the Mod Podge on pretty much the same way. You don't have to use quite as much because when we apply the napkin, we're not going to be crunching it up. We're just going to be taking it and placing it onto the heart where we want it. And we're just going to smooth it down with our brush and with some Mod Podge, just like I'm doing here. You don't have to worry about crunching it up. We just want it to lie nice and flat, just like I'm doing there. And as you go along, look at the pattern on the napkin. You don't have to match it up because that's why I picked a napkin that has an overall print. You just want to have a nice, pleasing layout on the heart. You see, that's why I picked that rose there. It looks perfect up there in the corner. So just kind of be mindful when you place the napkin where you're putting different parts of the design, just like I'm doing there. But again, you have so much leeway with this. That's why I said you really can't make a mistake. All you really have to be conscious of is maybe just the layout of the napkin itself, just changing the pattern around, but it really looks pretty. Can't make a mistake, right? And you're just going to keep applying. There we go with the sticky fingers again. And I'm going to grab those. I'm going to need them for the rest of the heart. All right, I let some of that dry, and then I pulled off those side pieces. I can't, stress enough that you have to do this in sections and let each section dry, because if you don't, you're just going to, with your sticky gluey fingers, pull off sections of the napkin, and you don't want to do that. So look, do it at section, go have a cup of coffee, have a cup of tea, and then come back. It's not going to take long to dry. And another thing I thought, which would be a great idea, is to go through your scraps of napkins. God knows I have so many scraps of napkins, especially the florals, and you can take them and just use different pieces and go all the way around the heart. Because remember, we can't really make a mistake. It could be very unique, very different. It can go with your home, whatever it is you want. You can even do these for holidays. Go through your Christmas napkins and things like that, and you can just do it for whatever you have. Scraps, you know I love to use up my scraps of napkin, and this is where those small pieces really came in handy on little spots like that. I'm just going to tuck it in. And again, I'm going to need those little sections to finish up the heart. And there it is. Look how beautiful that is. Look at that texture. It's absolutely gorgeous. I love how this came out. However, I'm going to go one step further and I'm going to add some of this gold metallic paint. This paint came in a set of 10. I don't remember what it is. I'm going to look it up and I will put it down there in the description so you can use the same things that I do. And I'm taking a little sponge and I'm going to start to go over the heart. And what I'm doing is I'm highlighting the wrinkles. Do you ever think in a million years I would be saying, let's highlight those wrinkles? But it just gives such a beautiful effect to this heart. Look at that. It's so pretty. And you know, you can do as little or as much of the gold, or even if you want to use a different metallic, you can use silver. It's yours. You do whatever you like. And do, again, as much as you want, as little as you want. Combine your metallics. Again, this is definitely a project where you're not going to make a mistake. All right, and once you're all finished, going around the sides, you want to give it some time to dry. Once it's dry, you can put a little bit of Mod Podge Extreme Glitter if you want it more sparkly. I decided I'm just going to go with the Door Clear. That's going to be my finish, my sealant. Even though it's all dry and I'm going to be hanging up in my home, I still want to put something on top to protect it. And I'm making sure that everything is dry before I do that. And I'm going to go around the whole heart. I'm not going to need more than one coat. One coat is definitely going to be sufficient to go all the way around the heart. And I'm going to kind of have to go in there and go around the edges to make sure that the whole heart is completely covered. And we'll give it some time to dry. Now that it's dry, I'm going to go on to putting one of the words on top. But look at that. I love how that looks. It's so pretty with all that texture. Okay, anyway, where was I? Okay, we're going to put a word on. These are words I got at the Dollar Tree. It says welcome. If you do it like this, I thought it looked more like Valentines, and I really want something that I can use right through this spring. So I decided I'm going to put the welcome straight across like that. And I'm also going to apply this, what they call a messy bow. Well, I glued everything down and I made the word welcome in gold. I thought it just looked so much better. I'm going to hold it up. Look how pretty that looks. The bow, the texture, the gold on the word welcome. This was really a fun project to do. Again, this is a project you can do. You're not going to make a mistake. It's going to be fine. If you're a beginner, you should just go for something like this. I hope you liked it. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and I'll see you on Facebook.